so sick of reality TV.
Hi everybody, it's Rita Smith, the #1 food fairy, and I'm here today to show you how to make your own homemade Chipotle. It is a terrific thing to have on hand, and it's really simple to make, far more simple than you might think. I use the recipe that comes from Chevy and Rio Bravo's Fresh Mix. It's their Chipotle puree recipe, and what it calls for is water, some olive oil, some vinegar, some tomato paste. I use my own homemade stewed tomatoes, a little bit of brown sugar, salt and pepper, and of course hot peppers. I'm going to use all jalapenos because that's what I was able to buy today, but you could use red Hungarians or spicy yellow banana peppers. Sometimes when I get like a whole basket of peppers on sale, I just toss them all on the barbecue and blister them black and make Chipotle out of them, but today it's going to be all jalapenos. And because it is going to be all jalapenos, you'll see I'm wearing gloves. I'm wearing gloves. If you're working with jalapenos, you got to be wearing gloves. Not so much when you put them on the barbecue, but when you touch them with your hands afterward, whether you're slicing them or pulling the stems off or chopping them for any other kind of a recipe, you really need to wear gloves when you're working with jalapenos so that when you're all done touching the hot peppers, which are really, really hot, you just pull them off and throw them away. Maybe give your hands a quick wash. And you will not get the burned palms syndrome that can happen if you chop hot peppers without gloves. And even worse is if you touch your finger to your eye without washing your hands while you're working with hot peppers, you can almost die from that. I don't mean literally die, but the pain is excruciating. So #1 thing when you're working with the jalapenos is gloves. The jalapenos, tomato sauce, vinegar, olive oil, brown sugar, salt and pepper, water, and I'll move you forward through the steps of how to blister the peppers, how to pull out the stems, cook them on the stove, and then you have your own Chipotle, which is delicious, and I'll give you a recipe on what to do with your Chipotle once you've got it made. It freezes perfectly. It also cans very well, so I tend to make giant batches of it and then freeze it or can it in smaller batches so that I have it all the way through the winter. I'll be right back. Homemade Chipotle. It's actually pretty cheap and easy to make, especially if you've got a barbecue. You can do this in the oven, but I recommend the barbecue. My barbecue actually has a smoker, a hickory smoker, so what I've got going on here is a big whack of jalapeno peppers. If I had been able to get some hot yellow banana peppers or some Hungarians, the red pointy kind, I would have mixed them all up together, but all I got today was jalapenos, so I am blistering them on the barbecue, and as you'll see when I take them off, they actually do blister. They turn quite black, and that's fine. That is what gives it the smoky Chipotle flavor. And I'm going to put it in a pan with some vinegar and some sugar, some tomato, and we will boil it. It will come out as homemade Chipotle, which you can use in all kinds of recipes. Barbecue sauce, salad dressing, tons of anything that calls for that kind of smoky, funky flavor that is Chipotle will result from these peppers. So I'm just going to flip the peppers now and come back to you when I'm on the next step of this process. I would say these are just about perfectly black enough. I don't want to burn the snot out of them, but I want them to be a bit charred and blistered on the outside. They've been on here for about 10 minutes, maybe 5, 7, 8 minutes. And I am now going to let them cool, pull the stems off, and do the next step in the Chipotle. Okay, so in a small Dutch oven, small stovetop Dutch oven, I've got the barbecue blistered jalapenos, tomato sauce, which also happens to be homemade, but you can use canned, wine vinegar, brown sugar, a little bit of vegetable oil and a little bit of salt, and some garlic. So I can give you the measurements for all of that. It's from Chevy and Rio Bravo's, but here is the peppers, the tomatoes, the vinegar, and other ingredients simmering away, and they have been simmering on the stove, I'm going to say for about an hour and a half now, and I'm going to take my stick blender and puree them, and what results is actually Chipotle. Okay, so I'm going to just take my stick blender and use it to puree each and every one of the peppers. This looks and smells really good. I think it could be thicker. Even after I've pureed it, I'm probably gonna let it cook and reduce for about another hour because I like my chipotle to be just a little bit less liquidy than this. But there you go. Okay, we're halfway there. I'll come back when this has cooked for just a little bit longer and maybe give you some suggestions on things that you can do with your own homemade chipotle. It's a really fantastic addition to so many dishes, and is also fantastic to make salad dressing with if you're doing like a Mexican themed salad. So I'm gonna let that thicken just a little bit longer. It looks pretty close to perfect. It could be a bit thicker. Okay, so coming back about an hour later, this has thickened and caramelized a little bit more. It's more the way that I like chipotle to be. So what I'm going to do is take it off the burner. I think I might even actually process some of this in mason jars. Normally I freeze it, but I don't know, I haven't decided yet. Either I'm going to process it in mason jars or freeze it. But I will make one recipe of chipotle, sweet chipotle salad dressing before I do either of those two things, just to show you one of the uses of homemade chipotle. So this stuff is ready to go. I've sampled it a couple of times along the way for garlic, for salt, for heat. There's a ton of heat. It tastes delicious. It's not meant to be eaten on its own in large doses. You mix it with other things, but it seems to be quite perfect, so I'm going to package it up to store it now.
I'm so sick of reality TV. I'm so tired